Noisy Pixel.
Welcome back, folks, to the Noisy Pixel podcast, the weekly podcast from noisypixel.net, where we talk about video game news and answer questions occasionally. I'm your host, Arthur, joined by Azario Lopez. How are you this week, sir?
I'm going to be honest with you, Arthur. I forgot about this podcast.
I was going to say, people have been wondering what my contributions are to the podcast. It's that I actually remember that we do it.
Yeah, I was busy writing away to hit some embargoes that will probably be up by the time this podcast goes up. But I didn't even shower.
Thankless job.
This is me unshowered and disheveled.
Well, luckily you're supported this week by Ian, who is also here.
I have showered, and I came prepared as much as I could be.
We have a 66% shower rate this week. No Brian again. Brian also forgot about the podcast.
And he also forgot to shower.
As far as we know, anything's possible. He usually says he has just showered when he gets on the show. And since he's not here and busy, I can only assume his showering plans have been delayed as well.
Before we get too far into the podcast, I'd just like to quickly mention that there was a Castlevania Advanced Trilogy.
I was going to mention this. I had this all set up, but go ahead. Yes, there has been a listener that has been engaging with us and asking this question.
And this is all we know, is that there's an ESRB rating for this advanced.
The question being that previously we had said, or no, we responded to a comment that said we were going to talk about Castlevania Advanced Collection, and the extent of that knowledge is, what were you saying, Azario?
That there's an ESRB rating for it, or maybe not even ESRB, maybe like an Australia rating or something like that. Some
18.
Yeah, some leaky region, because ESRB is a straight shooter here in America. Back-to-back World War champions, and just going strong.
Despite the leaky nature of that information, though, there's nothing else beyond that, though, right? Which is why we have not spoken about it other than what you just said.
Yeah, I don't have many good memories with that game either, so I don't really care. But it's
the Advanced Collection or the Advanced games, or
yeah. I liked the DS games. The DS games are pretty good.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the thing, is like people are kind of upset that maybe I don't know, but it's rumors, right? So
yay.
I don't know.
But consider this talked about.
Yeah.
It has gotten its 120 seconds. Ian liked them.
I liked them, but it was kind of, for me, like in the ground where like Castlevania was just starting to become like the Metroidvania thing. Circle of the Moon was okay. And then I think they kind of got better, in my opinion, from there. But I don't know. I'm sure we'll get a comment on what their favorite advanced game was. So I'd be interested to hear that, actually. Yeah.
Let us know what your favorite of the advanced Castlevanias are.
And we'll link it to the publisher, who probably hasn't done any work on this whatsoever. So then they can totally change their plans, because that's the influence we have here at Noisy Pixel.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
We hit them hard.
Yeah.
We get quoted by Metacritic on their Twitter posts.
We do.
From there, anything's possible.
There are websites that are like 5-6 years old that are still trying to get on Metacritic. So I wear that badge proudly.
Yeah. Who's the nerd now, guys? Oh, they cover visual novels. Yeah. On Metacritic, unlike
Metacritic, sucker. I tell Japanese developers that in emails. You know who the fuck we are?
That's how you start every interview.
Give us your $10 visual novel. if you want to get on Metacritic. I've never said that, guys, but I'm very nice.
That's the noisy pixel difference. You wonder how we do it. Now you know.
You're just fucking mean.
Well, let's share our thoughts on some news stories this week. I wouldn't say this was a blockbuster week for news, but some stuff that may be of interest to the audience, starting with this Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. A remaster is coming later this month, but there's a discount available on Steam at the very least to buy the first 6 Final Fantasies. Azar, you want to fill in the audience about this?
Yeah, so Square Enix is pulling the current versions of Final Fantasy 4 and 5, I believe, off of Steam, and you cannot purchase those after, I think, July 28th or something like that, or maybe July 14th.
July 28th is when the Pixel Remaster comes out.
So they're pulling the old versions that they have on Steam up, and they're putting up these new versions of the game. But first, they're doing 1, 2, and 3. Each standalone titles, you have to buy them separately. They range from like $10 to $20, these first 3, and they're available on July 28th. But you could purchase the bundle right now for $77. This is after the discounted price of 22%. So I can only imagine what, $90, $100, something around there? $95?
12 plus 12 plus $17.99 times 4. Do the math.
That's it.
We're writers here. Yeah, Ian, cover us here. You got it? 12 plus 12 plus 18 plus 18.
Okay, so if they were
18.
all 12, it'd be $72. So I'm not sure how much of a discount that is. If all 6 games.
24. So yeah, it's like $100.
Yeah, we're going to say $100. Which is ridiculous because you could probably buy those for far less if you have like a PS2 lying around. You could just buy Origins and Anthology and just pop those guys in and play a version.
Yeah, but the Steam appeal has always been to have them all in the same place. Do you know if any of these versions actually run? Like, that's the other thing.
The sucky thing about these versions is that they're releasing on mobile as well, so you have to take into consideration that they were formatted for mobile devices. So I doubt they're taking performance into consideration when they release on Steam, but also it's not the complete version. So you're not getting the after years for Final Fantasy IV or any of that. You're just getting the base games. And it's Hold on a sec.
I'm clicking on these links. And so like Final Fantasy games have been available on Steam for a while, but these are all new store items. Am I missing something? Am I misunderstanding?
They're removing those old versions and they're replacing them with the pixel remastered versions.
Oh, okay. So these are all pixel remaster store items. And what is the difference between the pixel remaster? I'm assuming the pixels have been remastered, but beyond that, is anything significant?
I don't think so. There's maybe some quality of life. Maybe you might be able to fast forward a little bit or something. I don't know. There is a
better resolution.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Then that's what I don't understand about this entire release. It doesn't make sense. Now, if it was like $60 for all of them and they have X benefit, you have the complete edition, or you can switch between any pixel. You can go between Super Nintendo to this generation of this, because they've remade this game so many times before. That would be cool. And I feel like that would be cool for $60. I would buy all 6 for $60, but charging this much, and it's just not nice.
Yeah, knowing that these are the new versions, you're saying they're removing the old versions. As far as I can tell at this point in time, the old versions are already gone. These are the only versions you can get now.
Yes. So Final Fantasy 5 and 6 will be delisted in July before the launch of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered. And I think you can still buy them right now. Yes, there's like a disclaimer on the Final Fantasy V old version parentheses page that they have. They have an old version, and it says that it will no longer be available for purchase after July 27th, 2021. So instead, and it says, please purchase the pixel remastered version of Final Fantasy V coming soon.
So any historians out there, act quickly or just download the emulator again.
Yeah.
The original versions of these games have been preserved already, right?
Oh, yeah. And they have all the speedrunner versions where they randomizers and all that. They have it all.
I think what you're speaking to, though, as far as like the different versions, how cool that would be, because I know there are people that are struggling to find the more like the 8-bit versions of them, or, they've even done some like those 2.5 3D versions of like 4 and 3, I think it was, but on DS. But that'd be so neat if they did that. And you're right, like for the price tag, I wouldn't hesitate in buying that. But they have had kind of wonky versions too, that, like you said, were for mobile, and they kind of just put them on Steam as well. And it was almost too clean for my taste, like too Flash animation looking,
It looks like one of those bad art jobs where they remaster art, and it's just like so like spread out. Like
yeah.
It looks like that. It's some of their versions that they've tried to update. But this version, the Pixel remastered version, the updates come in like auto battle. You can turn auto battle on. Like, the fuck are you? Like, come on, guys, play the damn game.
I'm here to do the muscle memory of going to magic and scrolling 3 down, 1 over and over and over again.
Come on, just put memory on, dude. You just go to the options and put memory on, and it'll.
Isn't that also a modernization that isn't necessarily in the older games?
I think it was on the olders. It was like it's like cursor memory, and you could turn that on so that it remembers your magic.
Well, we have the opportunity here to say what our favorite Final Fantasy game is. So let's go around, guys.
Like of the first 6?
I guess we should do that.
Yeah. Let's do the first 6.
Which will eliminate me completely because I haven't played the first 6. 6 is the only one that I've thought about playing of the first 6.
Which one was 6? Is that the one where the Chocobo guy and the meteor?
It's the one with the Chocobos and Sid.
Meteor comes down.
It's being very
no, that's
specific. It's the same one.
That's Kefka.
Yeah.
Oh,
the steampunky one, kind of.
Okay, so that was the one
cast, you might say.
That was the one where it starts off and they're in the mechs and they're walking.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got the thief.
I liked 4. I liked 4 a lot.
And 4 was 2.
4 was 2 and 6 was 3. Yeah.
I liked 4.
Yeah. Okay. I like 4 guys. Yeah.
I like 4 a lot. 4,
yeah, so did I.
4 is absolutely too good.
I love the idea of like the hero that is in the wrong organization and it has to like turn things around. Oh, can't get enough. And for me, that was like the first one that like was really story driven compared to the previous ones. Cause the other ones, they had those elements and you could tell it was like a bigger world, but narratively it was like the first one that it was like, they had a vision of what the story actually was and went with it.
I played this game after I played Final Fantasy 7 and after I played it around like when I was 14, 15. And I remember completely like doubting, no fucking way are these characters dead, are there's like a lot of twists in this game, and you kind of have to wait it out, but that's like their reward for waiting it out, for playing this game, is that you do get all these great character moments. It's a good game.
So if you're diving into the remaster, start with 4 according to Noisy Pixel.
Yeah, because Final Fantasy 1 is okay, I guess, but
yeah, just start with 1, go to 2, then 3, right? Then you'll have an appreciation.
I just feel like the PSP version of 1 is so much better than whatever they're putting up on Steam, because the PSP version has like updated CG, animated scenes and stuff like that. Like they did a good job on the PSP version, and this is just the one that released on NES. I mean, with updated graphics, of course.
Yeah. Luckily, go ahead, Ian.
No, I was just going to say that one. I think that was like way back in the day where like if the enemy died and you attacked, you would just attack nothing.
Yeah.
And then that, so you're like, okay, this, it's dated in that kind of way. But the re-release was kind of like, okay, we know nobody really wants to play that way for the most part. That is an option, but for everybody else, they kind of streamlined it a little bit. So,
Well, if you guys prefer the PSP version, you are in luck because Sony has confirmed that all PSP content will remain available for purchase on the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores. This was a bit up in the air, especially with some movement on the PSN store in recent months. But they clarified their position here. Azaria, you want to talk more a bit about this one?
I'm just glad that I just find it weird, I should say, that they waited till the last day to announce that you're still like the PSP store came down and then they sent out an alert that was like, oh yeah, you could still buy the games on PS3 and Vita. Why did they say that months ago?
Money.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Did that drive people to be like, oh, I better buy everything right now?
Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past them because you got to buy Crisis Core. I mean,
how else are you gonna get it? All the PSP classics, Metal Gear Acid.
Yeah, I mean, even you guys, I regrettably spent $350 on physical PSP games when I heard that it was shutting down. I was like, well, these are gonna go up. I bought like Parasite Eve: The Third Birthday for way more than I should have.
Like earlier this year, you did that.
Yeah, when they announced it, I was one of the guys.
Shelf.
Yeah, I was one of the guys that went a little nuts about it because PSP games in general are already going in price, are up in price because Persona right now on PSP is already $120.
For FES.
Yes, and then you have Persona 1 and 2, but it's like the updated version where they have another protagonist, a female protagonist you can choose.
Right.
But those are super expensive, and I was like, you know what, there's games on the PSP that I want to play, and I don't want to wait until they're $300 to play them. You know, like I didn't.
Can I ask a stupid question as someone that never interacted with the PSP? Mm-hmm. If it's on the PS3 store, does that suggest you can play a PSP game on your PS3?
No, you can just buy it.
What does that mean?
I did that once. I was an idiot.
Yeah.
So,
well,
it said you can download it.
Yeah,
it'll let you download it.
It'll sit on the hard drive.
Yeah, and then there are like no refunds.
The idea is that you can connect your PSP to your PS3 and kind of do like a remote play style thing. And you can do that.
So you are technically playing it on a PS3. You got the controller in your hand. It's on a television.
But it only, and that only worked with like a few games, like Little Big Planet and stuff like that.
And again, you need a PSP in that equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's silly.
But I'm glad that there's ways to still buy PSP games because there's a lot of good ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I even imported Final Fantasy 3.
Patapon.
I got Patapon. I did pick up that one. Got to Loco Roco. Those are the must owns. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I got the Wild. There's a Wild Arms on there that everyone should play. Like, it's kind of a weird Wild Arms, but I mean, I'll take what I can get from that series.
I'm trying to look up a list of PlayStation portable video games to see if I can recognize any of them.
There's a Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball on the PSP, which is not that bad. That was the last
squint for that.
No joke.
Dead or Alive Paradise.
Yes. And it was
sorry, I'm who could forget classics like Daxter?
Yeah. there's a lot of good SRPGs. They have Tactics Ogre on there. They have Jeanne d'Arc, I believe that's the name. There's a few good games on the PSP.
Echochrome.
I've never heard of Echochrome.
Echochrome? You never heard of Echochrome?
No, now I need to. God.
It's a puzzle game. It's like like you're trying to get the dude to walk through this like that picture where it's like a staircase that's paradoxically going up and down at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a puzzle game with like a bunch of that stuff.
Like Etcher, MC Etcher.
Maybe. Not familiar with either of those.
Everybody just turned off the podcast now. They're like, nobody knows Echochrome here.
Really? I feel like I heard about Echochrome enough times that was like, hey, that seems like something I should have played. Yeah, it's like mentioned in the same vein as like Flow and other like weird games that you could play. Not that they're the same. Flow is like barely a video game from what I remember.
If you recall, the first game I mentioned was Dead or Alive Paradise.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So try and stick in that realm.
So I was sticking to the Noisy Pixel criteria of weird, and I forgot about the second criteria of horny.
Yes. There's two very important themes
together. All right. Well, PSP. Content still sticking around. You can download it digitally, just like these 15 gigabytes of Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin, which is coming out on the Nintendo Switch. But in addition to buying the physical copy, you're going to have to download a significant portion of the game. Azari, can you tell us why that is?
There's just a lot of... So there's a lot of talk around the Switch cartridges. I think they go up to 32 gigs, but there's like a 1, a 2, a 4, a 16, and a 32. And they're supposed to be releasing a 64, but that was a 64 gigabyte cartridge. But I think it was delayed last year. I haven't heard anything from the 64
This is very inside baseball. Most people just buy a cartridge and don't think about it. But in fact, there are a variety of different cartridges depending on what game you're buying.
And there are a variety of different costs. So the digital version of Monster Hunter Stories 2 is...
The cost not necessarily passed on to the consumer when you're buying it, but for the developer, they have to pay more for if they're getting a bigger card, right?
And the digital version of Monster Hunter Stories 2 is 13.5 gigabytes. So you would expect, that's fine on a 16 gigabyte cartridge. But on the front of the case of the physical version, it reads that there's an extra download. You turn around and see that you need, and they require 15 gigabytes of storage on your Switch to download the game and play it. Which sucks for people who don't have internet, like we're in spots that generally have decent internet, but there are places in America that really don't have good internet at all. And that goes for the whole world. There are places where internet's hard to find. And if they buy a physical version of this game, it's going to be pretty hard to play it.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to Xbox 360 era where some amount of people didn't have access to internet. So a lot of like the Xbox Live arcade stuff that they were hawking so much, they just had no access to it whatsoever. And then also the storage is a problem as well. You guys both own Switches. Ian, do you have a 15 gigabyte storage to download something that big?
I do, but okay. I can understand why.
I have not bought a micro SD, so I know I should.
Oh, really?
I just delete the games as I play. I archive them as I play them.
How much storage is on the Switch on the base?
Is it like
32?
Yeah, I thought it was like, it's not 60, is it?
It's something small. I've had to delete stuff before.
I have a SD that is like in the 200 range.
256.
Yeah. So like for me, but I kind of went in there planning that I would buy a lot of digital releases, and just because I know I'm lazy that way. But
can you take any SD card and just pop it in there?
A micro SD, yes.
Micro
yeah,
SD.
I think there were some like hairy issues with some of them that I remember researching just to make sure that it was compatible. But there are plenty of alternative options that are not like official Nintendo SD that you can put in there. But I think the audience though is quite a bit different than like Sony or Microsoft for these games. So I don't know, because when I was thinking about that, it was like the first Spider-Man on PS4 when that came out. It was like, I think, was it like 50 gigabyte that you had to do additionally to that?
Yeah.
And I think maybe those players are maybe just more used to things like that. And maybe that's me too, because I do have a PS4 and I have a Switch but I don't know if all Switch users are ready for something like that personally.
Yeah.
But
with disc-based games, some of them it's just installing from the disc and it takes a long ass time. But they'll say day one update of like 12 gigabytes, and you're like, well, what the fuck is this day one update? Like, what does it fix? So this is essentially that, like you buy this physical game and the game isn't really on there. You're basically just buying a code that unlocks the digital version of the game, and sure, you can play it. I think it's silly because it really, it looks ugly on the box. If you look at the box, you have that stupid white logo there just over the key art. Download on the
download required. See back. Yeah, I have pictures of it on noisepixel.net.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. But they've done it before with Resident Evil. Capcom did it with Resident Evil or Origins, where they said like extra download or something.
This was originally reported by Nintendo, and one of the replies mentions that on Amazon, for Resident Evil, Amazon, the store listing would say, "Hey, you need a download." Be buyer beware type of thing. But as of the time that they made the comment, there was no such warning on the Monster Hunter Stories 2 page. I can check if that still is the case.
Yeah, so it could be that they're holding back in some way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me when we were talking about like who buys like PC like physically, because you're just buying the box essentially. I mean, I think they're going to have to start actually thinking about those cartridges at some point, because these bigger games, like the bigger the games get, it's essentially just going to be a lot of that, I would imagine.
Cloud play. Oh, it's all the. Have you ever played a cloud-based Switch game? I was talking about this in the other podcast, but I haven't.
What other podcast?
Yeah. No. I don't think I have. I'm trying to think. What are some major ones that...
There's like Control and...
I don't think so.
Yeah. I haven't
I'm wondering performance, like how that goes too with some of those games.
It's streaming somewhere. Somewhere is
feeding
into your Switch.
I know.
It's streaming from the cloud. The Amazon listing, real quick, sorry. It just says currently unavailable. I don't know if that's just a temporary thing or if that's an indication that's just not available on the Amazon store anymore. But just want to put that in there. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I think that anything that has to do with the internet and Switch is I kind of walk away from, because there's not even an Ethernet port. Like, I'm not going to play my multiplayer games on there. I'm not going to do much. Just, I don't want the little dongle. Just give me a fucking Ethernet port. Nintendo, come on.
Have you not run into the issue? Like, I live in a house or in a condo now that doesn't even have Ethernet ports, like in the wiring. Like, even if I had an Ethernet cord, I couldn't plug it into the wall. And there's more and more places like that. Have you run into that yet?
Yeah, my room is like that, where I have an Ethernet port in the wall that I can just plug in a cord there.
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying
I've lived in that
situation. There is no such port available anywhere. That's
where the 100-foot LAN cable comes in, and then I have the switch, the extender where it has like
drill through the floor and go all the way to the basement, right?
I don't know it. Well, where's your router at? My router is just like in the living room or something, and I just like connect it to the side of the wall.
My condo is 4 stories, so it's like very narrow and tall. So it's in the hallway of the staircase, but.
Put it out the window and up the side of the house.
Yeah, let me put this cable outdoors.
Yes. Now you're thinking.
Let me leave this window cracked all year round. I don't know if you know what it's like outside of California, but it's not sustainable.
But yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? Indeed. I guess we'll see what happens. That game's coming out later this week, July 9th, right? So we'll see. Review coming. Okay, so we have
something might be coming. Something might be coming.
Maybe something's always coming. We have a little bit of time, sticking to the shorter format. Just wanted to address some of these questions that we get on our YouTube video, where we post these occasionally, and you can see our beautiful faces and also engage with our fans and listeners. So we answered the Castlevania one. There were some other questions. This one from Brian L., who is not
not Brian.
The same Brian. I think the gist of his question is he just wants to know what visual novel he should read next. You were saying the ones that he referenced, which I'm going out of my way to not attempt to pronounce, had some similarities. So where would you go from there?
I think You and Me and Her, a love story. Or there's this one called Sakamori Dreamers, I think it's called, something like that. You'll know what you'll know what it is when you see it, or you'll probably hear me try to pronounce it and be like, oh, I know what he's talking about. But I'll just message you in the comments. But I think it's Sakamori Dreamers and You and Me and Her, a love story. Those are two that I think are fucked up enough for you.
You specifically, Brian.
Yeah. And anyone else? You know how you ever have like a fucked up movie night and just put on
a Serbian film?
Put on a Serbian film.
Lean into the meme.
Yeah.
Put on.
Nobody likes that movie, and everybody's sick of it. But yeah, go ahead.
Irreversible. That's another one.
Oh, that's like not even. That's not even like a funny pick. At least the Serbian film was like, this is
over the top enough that
right.
Yeah, so it's like that. It's like having a fucked up movie night. And
okay.
Don't watch
yourself. Yeah, for many hours in a row. Irreversible, great film, especially when you understand the context of why it was made. In the same way that all of Gasparno's work is quite challenging, but if you don't know what it is and you just want to freak someone out, you can do it that way as well.
You know, it's a good one. That one, the Tom Hanks movie. He wears the masks and he goes to the fuck parties. What's that one?
That's not Tom. That's Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
You're thinking
Tom Cruise.
That would be a very different movie.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's just like his last movie or something like that. Like
technically his last. He worked on artificial intelligence as well.
Yes.
I watched that movie. I had a brief period of time where I would get really high and watch movies, which if that's the first thing you know about me, I just want to say that that's not like my personality. Anyway,
experiences.
And I remember watching that movie and thinking like, this movie is so good. And then I tried rewatching it later. I'm like, this movie is so boring.
I feel like you would have anxiety. I feel like it would give you like huge anxiety of like being followed and just like.
Generally, that experience is great because you can take really boring movies and you're like in the movie. Mm-hmm. So if it's really dull or slow, like all Kubrick films are, then it can be okay. But the reason I stopped doing that is because I realized I would never remember anything about those movies. So not the best way to watch them. Anyway, Eyes Wide Shut. Check it out. It's basically a visual novel.
Give us your review in the comments below.
Another commenter, I forgot to write down their name, was wondering when the next Last Gen will be coming out, which is a Noisy Pixel content that you've been working on, Azario. You have a timeline for that?
I generally look at the plays of the last episode and decide when to put out the next episode. But here, I will tell you that the next episode might come out next week. And for the listeners, exclusive for you, the game is Red Ninja. So there's the game. It's a PS2 game, and you'll hear all about it when the episode launches.
Prepare to learn. Next week,
potentially. There's an episode of Retro Pixel up where Ian and I play it. So if you want to just quickly watch Ian and I play through the opening of the game, go check it out.
We're really good at it.
Yeah. Terrible game. I didn't get much further than we got either.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned for that. Last question, which I did answer directly, but I have a follow-up now. I was wearing a white shirt last time, and somebody said, where did you get that nice looking shirt? And not that I want to advertise, but I did buy it from Banana Republic. Last year, they had a 75% off sale during the pandemic. And oddly enough, they just started their summer sale, which is a mere 50% off, but still pretty good. So if you want to pick up that item, it's available.
Never pay full price for Banana Republic.
No. It's all overpriced. All those shirts are made in the same factory.
Yeah.
Banana Republic,
the
Gap,
same little
Old Navy.
hands.
Yeah,
The same little hands.
no.
It's the same company.
Sorry,
It's unavoidable, huh? Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, then you can tell your friends I got fashion advice from noisypixel.net.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know you've been led on the right path. Okay, well, I think that's gonna do it for this week's show. Anything coming down the pike, Azaria, people should know about?
I played Watch Dogs Legion Bloodline. The review is up now. Go watch it because I know probably not a lot of people are interested in it, but I beat it. Took me like 7 hours. So throw me a bone.
When's that coming?
It'll be right before this episode, so it'll be earlier in the day. It'll be up by the time this is up.
Okay. Anything else? Any stuff coming?
No, just that, I guess that preview, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Road 97. If you're looking for
Road 96.
Road 96.
Well,
Did I say 69?
No, you said 97, but I know
97.
it. I know it because it's just 69 reversed.
Okay, yeah. If you're looking for, to preface that then, if you're looking for the weird but not horny side of Noisy Pixel, that's where you're going to go. So
Yes,
I feel like I didn't sell that the right way, but there's a preview. Yeah.
And there's no 69ing in it?
No. Well, not
to
that I
our
saw.
knowledge.
It's a preview. Haven't seen the final version, so
there could be.
Could be.
I need to share this TikTok with you about 69ing. We'll talk about it after the show.
I can't wait.
Which is right now. Thanks for listening, folks. If you have any questions for us, feel free to leave a comment on our YouTube video version of the podcast. Otherwise, keep checking noisypixel.net for some great stuff. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
See ya.